Hey everyone, so it's been a nice summer vacation. We did the Go Congress. I know a bunch of you guys saw the videos from the Go Congress, which was great. But we took 2 months off from the single-digit Q classes in August and September, and now we're getting them going again. So thanks for joining us again. I'm really excited with what we've got prepared for the fall course. We are going to be doing lots and lots of problems. I mean lots of problems. And part of this is from the 2 workshops that 2 pros did at the Go Center after Congress. We had Kim Young-won and In-sung of the Yungasung Dojang. Both provide great workshops at the Seattle Go Center. And one of the things that they were very consistently emphatic about was that the best thing you can do to get better is to work on your Go problems, work on your reading, work on being able to see things and see them faster, because one of the things Myung-won was talking about was that pros read the same way we do. They read one move at a time. They just read them quicker, they read them accurately, and they don't get confused. So they read them to the end, and then they're sure they don't revisit it. So I know you and me, we'll read out, half dozen moves and things will start to get fuzzy. The stones will sort of, how many liberties did I have? That sort of stuff. It's hard to do, but there's only one cure for it, and the cure is practice. So without further ado, we're going to put some links either up there, down here, or one of those places, and you're going to need to go click on those links, and you'll find PDFs of these problems that I've been putting together. So we've got an actual curriculum, which I've pulled from a variety of sources, and I've transcribed them and put them into PDF. So hope you guys will join me in going through these problems, doing these problems with my class, and seeing if you like them. So one of the things we're going to talk about, you're going to hear us talk about, how we approach problems, what our brain is doing when we think about problems, how we can get better at doing problems, all of that sort of stuff. So there's going to be some links to that down below as well, starting with a great introduction that In-sung did on 1, 2, 3 reading, which you can find. I'll point the link to that below, and you'll see that as well. So let's, without any further ado, let's look at some problems. So this idea, you hear us say 1, 2, 3 reading. What does it mean? Basically, 1, 2, 3 reading means let's think about what worked for them could work for us, right? So one of the ways that you start is you start just by picking something to read. Doesn't have to be the best move. You just pick something that looks like it'll do the job, and then you see what'll happen. So right here, we're going to start with, okay, what's the simplest thing we can do? Well, we can try and capture these stones, right? So we'll read, okay, we're going to try and capture these stones. If white connects, we're going to get a whole bunch of stones. We're going to have an eye. We're done. Of course, if white doesn't connect, say white does something like this, our goal in mind is we want to make this other eye here under T5. And we'll be like, hey, cool, 2 eyes. We're done. But then the next thing we want to do is we want to think, well, what if white takes that point from us, right? We wanted it to go, 1, 2, 3, right? Where we play 1, then they'd play 2, then we'd play 3. But now we need to read what happens if white takes 3 from us. So we do that, and we see, hey, this maybe doesn't work out so well. So then the next thing we can do is we can say, well, what happens if we take 3 for ourselves? So we take 3 first. We want to keep reading. What's the next most obvious thing white can do is push in here, right? It looks like, hey, this is a move that would prevent us from having eyes, assuming that everything can connect. And so this is a great example of, well, maybe you start reading here and you're like, wow, what's going to happen? It's hard to see, how many am I going to be able to catch these stones? If white starts connecting back, am I going to be able to? Yeah, as it turns out, you will be able to connect back. But when you do a lot of these problems, what'll happen is right now, to me, I can already see that these 3 stones are captured, and I'm just done. So once I've reached this point right here, I've put down 2 moves, and my brain is satisfied that this will work, right? And I can check that, but mostly I'm good and I'm set, and I can see that that converges on a terminal position really quickly, right? Because I've done a bunch of problems like this. So just for the record, if white does try to connect back, we can still make sure that right here I'll catch 3 stones. White will recapture, but that's enough, taking 3 in a line, almost always enough for an eye. I can check that in my mind's eye really quickly. Converges, right? So this idea of 1, 2, 3 reading is figuring out if they can get the right resistance by taking that point that you wanted sooner than you could take it. Did that make sense? That made sense. All right. Here's another great example of that one. This is great. You want to start, okay, so what's the simplest thing to do is to just push in. Right? We've learned that the simplest things you do are you make the eye space smaller, then you play on the vital point, no problem. So make the ice space smaller. If white plays there, we think we've got this clever plan where we play Atari. Then if white connects, we'll capture the whole group. Boom, that would be great. Except white isn't going to play there. White has this option where they could take that point that we wanted. And now if we take that point, white can capture us back, right? So this transpose, this was not what we wanted. So we say, okay, so this doesn't work. So what could we do instead? Well, maybe we can try taking white's point for us. And now how do we continue? Well, now we want to, you know, see if we can reduce the eye shape. And now we know that this is a dead shape, right? Because we've done all that practice. We know about the basic dead shapes, you know, the Tetris 4, the bulky 5, the rabbit 6, you know, all those different 3, let's see, the magic box where it's just 4 in a block, and that's not even one, not even, you know, sente to be 2 eyes. It's terrible. Anyway, so the power square, that's what it is, the power square. So here we know that we're done because we see if white, you know, tries to capture, you know, we can stop reading. We don't have to read the rest of that sequence. In fact, we know that here we're done, right, which is pretty cool. So yeah, so this idea of how we can converge on the right solution, you know, that's sort of the idea here. So if you do these and you want to put them out on a board, you know, and see that, I really recommend that the next thing you want to do is you want to help train your brain to see it faster by moving farther back, you know, moving farther back, doing it with fewer and fewer stones on the board. So at the point that you've read that this is dead, you know, maybe take those stones off the board and see if you can read it here, and then, you know, once you're at the original position, now you're reading the whole thing. So right here, for instance, you know, if you have to read it from here, then that's great. You know, now work on taking some of those stones off and seeing if you can read it quicker with fewer stones available. Does that make sense? Great. So we're going to talk about a lot more of this stuff. There'll be lots of problems to do. I really hope you guys will join us. Again, the link to the problem is going to be probably down there, unless I put it up there. I'm not sure. Anyway, so join us, do some problems. I know only like 10-15% of you are going to do it, but no one can do these things for you. You got to do it. I can only show you the door. You have to walk through it yourself. All right, good luck, guys. See you around.